Wolf Live here on YouTube. Gotta talk about this. Of course, today is Father's Day, and got a couple of things on my mind. I'm actually going ahead to lunch to go talk to my son. You know, we're having Father's Day lunch together, and I got to talk to him anyway. He's about to become a dependent father. Which means I'm going to be a grandfather. So actually we got to talk. There's a lot of things we got to talk and discuss about the things we need to understand and know about what it is to be a father and your fatherly responsibilities. And one of the things is, regardless of your stance with your baby's mother, you have to invoke civility with her. In other words, be civil about the things y'all need to do when it comes to the kids, regardless of what y'all stance is. You know, and reason why I say that, a lot of kids get neglected by one or both parents because their civility is uncivil. That the kids are just put at the back burner. I was sort of in that respect, in that realm at one time. But my folks weren't completely uncivil. It's just certain things that they didn't, focus on. But otherwise, I'm glad, I'm like the DMX song. You know, the DMX song was, You Don't Know? And the line said, my mother, my father, I love him, I hate him. Sometimes I wish I didn't have him, but I thank God that he made him. Yeah, that was kind of in my case. But anyway, but nevertheless, what is with these fools out here today, man? It's goofy. It is on the roads, man. It's things like, I'm just gonna do what I want to do. Anyway, people, there's not a whole lot of traffic. There's traffic out here, but it ain't like there's just people driving fast enough. Right? That's another whole story. But nevertheless, it's Father's Day today. It's a gorgeous day. This whole weekend's been nice. It was nice on Friday too. They had Something in the Water Festival by Virginia Beach, Norfolk native Pharrell Williams. You know Pharrell Williams. They had to hit out the #1 hit, worldwide hit called "Happy." Love that song. Anyway, he produced and put out this Something in the Water Festival in D.C. For Juneteenth, and it's a big hit. As a matter of fact, I watched segments on YouTube. Not YouTube, I'm sorry. I watched a lot of the live segments on Amazon. Amazon Bros broadcasting from 2 different channels. And I saw Ray Schmurder, Uzi Vert, who else? There was a couple other people I saw over. John Baptiste, he was a brilliant artist. I didn't even know he was that good. And there was somebody else I saw. It was like 4, Backyard Band. So I saw 4 artists within 2 hours, man, and it was incredible. The energy, the performance were incredible. Backyard, for me personally, Backyard and Uzi Vert killed it, man. Uzi Vert was the man, man. Like I said, I always thought he was a little bit on the eccentric side. I never really knew who Uzi Vert was as far as his music. But I've come to respect his work, man. That dude is a boss in hip-hop, man. Oh, my God. He might be slightly underrated, but he's good, man. Oh, man. I was telling myself, this dude's incredible. This dude's incredible. I mean, I didn't realize how good he was. He's a brilliant artist, man. Man. So I told my son, I said, man, I'm going to have to put him in my playlist. I mean, he's going to be in my rotation heavy. Especially for hip-hoppers, man. It was good. And like I said, I'm not as big of a fan that I used to be in hip-hop, but he's starting to make me a believer again. Straight up. He's starting to make me really like hip-hop again. I'm not going to front. He's starting to really make me like it again. It's not that I hate hip-hop. I just don't like the way it went over the years, man. But now he's starting to make me a believer to a point, man. I'm gonna start back buying hip-hop. There's a couple artists I do like that's out there now, like The Baby, of course, Drake, one of my favorites. The Baby, I actually like a lot of his stuff, and I like Uzi Vert, so those are my top 3 right now. But anyway, what I'm saying is, you have to kind of identify with your kids, which I do with my son, and I always have. We share alike for a lot of things like sports and cars and stuff like that. And you have to relate. One of the things that's important about fatherhood that I know for myself personally, raising kids, you have to relate to them. The only way you're going to really have a real connection with your kid, you have to relate to them. You have to relate to their world. You have to relate to what they're doing, what they're up to, so that you know what's going on with your kids and you have a relationship where you can work with them. And they can have a stronger bond with you as a result. Me and my son, we talk almost we talk about 4 or 5 times a week. And sometimes for hours. I talked about an hour and a half last night. I get on the phone. I pulled myself on the phone. We talked for 2 hours last week one time. So, but that's how well we relate, because you have to have that bond. In order to really be a really effective father, you have to have a strong bond with your kids where you can relate to them, and then they can eventually tell you what's on their mind. They can tell you what's in their heart. They can tell you what's in their mind. And you can focus solely on their needs and wants, so you can help build them. That's what fathers do. Fathers are responsible for nurturing and protecting their kids and advising them and teaching them and getting them to learn the things about life that they need to know and ensure that they get the things that they need to learn through a good education. And keep them focused and keep them grounded on the things they need to do to develop themselves to become productive adults. We have to do that. You can't be self-centered. Oh, well, I didn't get this, so my kids ain't gonna get it. No, bump that. One thing I've always said, and I even tell my son that, you always strive and work for the betterment of making sure your kids, how can I put it? That you give, that make sure your kids have better than what you have. And I don't mean necessarily giving them gifts. But you want to make sure that, they are able to be more enriched through their life than you were. And I'm trying to say, how can I put it? Any father that don't strive for the betterment of their children and don't work at it and don't strive for it, you ain't no real father. Just saying. You have to strive for the betterment of your kids. You have to always want to be there for your kids, even if you don't live with them. You gotta always be in their lives. That's the whole purpose of fatherhood. Fatherhood is mainly about you being the person, not just the breadwinner, not just somebody who put a roof over your kids' heads. That is a primary function, but it's more to it than that. It's way more to it than that. You got to be not only the best father you need to be for your kids, but be the father that your father probably wasn't for you. And don't get hung up about, well, my dad didn't love me, so my kids didn't do that. No, bump that. You gotta be the man that you need to be, so that your your kids will look up to you as being the man that they always needed to have around. And not worry about what you didn't have. Many years ago, that's a true story. Many years ago, my dad wasn't really much on getting me immaculated into sports and stuff like that. He didn't work at that point. And one time I was really feeling really sad about it. I did. I felt very sad and depressed about it. But when I saw my son getting involved with sports at the age of 6, I kind of didn't bother me anymore. The more I was involved with him, the less my childhood experiences or lack thereof didn't bother me as much, because I saw what I can do through him what was never done to enable me. You know, and I did it through him. You know, as a result of that, he won 2 championships. It was in one. I think they lost the first one by 2 points, and then went on to play the football team later on next year. Won championship. They won another one for another football team. So it was good to see that. And he played. He was out there playing 3 different sports. He played football, basketball, and baseball at one time. You know. So to me, to watch him elevate to where he needed to be was a blessing to me as a father, to be able to be able to see what he was able to do and help him elevate and fulfill what he needed to be able to do. It warmed my heart. It made me sad because I couldn't do it, but then again, I moved on beyond that. I had to, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I had to. You know, because that was my childhood, not his. His can't be the same as mine. A lot of us want our kids to grow up in the same mindset and mannerism that we did, and that's wrong. We even talked about discipline. You know, I had 2 different methods of disciplining him, and he told me one of them he's not going to use, and I can understand that. I fully respect him for that, especially since his child's going to be a girl. You know, so you have to go about a little bit different, a little bit more gentler with that situation. You know, and I totally respect him for that. I told him, you know, so we're going to talk about that. But I want y'all guys to know, especially you impending fathers like my son, be the father that your father wasn't to you. In other words, be the better father. Be a 2.0 to what your 1.0 was to you. I always say that. In other words, be the improved person. You know, whatever he wasn't that should have been to you, you need to be for them. Oh my God, these people can't drive. I can clearly see you trying to get over it. They're still trying to, man, come on. What you doing here? Oh my God, these people can't drive with 2 red cents. But, you know, just say it. Just be the father that your father should have been to you. You know? And that's what I'm saying. And oh my God, these people can't drive. You know, that's all I'm saying, folks. You know, because it'll benefit you. It'll benefit your child. You know, be in their lives. You know, the reason why we got a lot of problems with these kids being incarcerated at such a young age because their fathers wasn't there. You don't worry about the situation with mom, with your mother. You worry about your relationship with the kids. That's important. If you have to go to court to get partial custody, that's what you do. If you got to go to court to get visitation rights, that's what you do. Every child's worth it. Every child who has a father, their fathers need to be in their lives. You know, don't let the mama stop you from being in their lives. Do what you're supposed to do out here as a father when it comes to that, because you're supposed to. You're supposed to. That's the bottom line, folks. No more excuses. Real talk. I'm out.